the embed for that, and I'll put it on the site. And then they can just start it whatever time they want to
We're
start.
live.
We're live right now. Woo!
Yep.
Yay!
Everybody, how's it going?
We're only 20 minutes late. We're improvisers. That's why that happened. Thank you. First of all, this is the first ever NINS Talk and Shop, the National Improv Network, and we're here with Amy and Harry. And we just wanted to thank everybody for hanging out, if you are hanging out with us. And we'll be announcing more details soon, but we are partnering with E-MPROV because that's our big announcement, because they basically share the same exact goals that we do to bridge community together, and we think that's awesome. And Bill's going to kind of go in the technical details of what that means. Bill?
Yeah, I'll be quick on that because you don't want to hear super tech stuff, but we're going to be embedding some of the stuff on our site. The shows will be there, certainly, but also when we do more of the shop talks, when we invite instructors to give lectures and stuff like that, you can be able to see that on the E-MPROV site or our site. We're going to work on having some more interactivity in the site so you can ask questions directly and things like that. It's going to be right on the front page. You may have noticed that some of the video channels are active and some of them aren't now, so we're going to get rid of some of those inactive channels and replace it at the top with an E-MPROV channel, so anytime there's a show or a lecture or anything else, it's going to be right there on both pages.
Yeah, and if any of our members that are watching or even non-members, we've done improv before, and it's just a great way to connect with people, you know, perform with someone from New York or England or wherever, just to kind of have fun and do a show and get to meet people. It's really a cool thing, and we're really excited to you know, put it on the site and just have something live on the site. I think is really cool that people can watch and participate in. And part of the show that Bill and I will be doing monthly is NINS Talk and Shop, and we'll be you know, talking about different topics and things of that nature. Like tonight, we're announcing the E-MPROV, but we're also doing the Year of the Teacher at NIN, and we're going to be talking a lot about coaching and teachers tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Are you guys, so you're celebrating teachers throughout the year? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and we're
we're
coming out with a new tool, and Bill can explain a little bit about that.
We're doing a few things with the teachers this year. Last year we focused a lot on the submission tool, and this year we're going to be adding a lot of new tools for teachers. The first one is just going to be simply a very simple tool. It's just that instructors are going to be able to indicate themselves as teachers on the site, and they're going to be able to list their workshops that are going to be searchable. They're going to be able to submit their workshops directly to festivals. They're going to be able to send them to theaters and stuff like that. And then the tool will be coming up a little bit after that in the year is for traveling teachers. They're going to be able to help map their road trips, set a schedule just like bands would do, including sort of a random scattershot feature that they're going to be in a town for something other than improv. They're just going to be in town for a family reunion or something like that. They can indicate, and every theater in that town will get an indication that, you know, they'll be in town, so that can help get them paid without the theaters having to cover airfare and hotels, which means more workshop opportunities for them.
You guys are doing all the work. You're taking all the executive work out of me trying to hustle to teach my workshops.
Well, you'll still have to hustle, Amy.
Yeah.
No.
It'll be easier for you to submit.
Yeah.
You know what's cool about that? Like, that's something, that's like anytime I see a new improv site pop up where it's like convenient for us to collectively meet like teams or festivals like what you guys do, it always amazes me because it's like how, my thought is always like, how can I help those sites, you know? Because like I think about it on our end, like we have people asking us for help all the time, but we don't really, there's nothing we can say to them to get help other than like, if you know anyone in Tokyo that does improv, that would be cool. Like, how do you guys, like, what do you guys ask for, if anything, for help from people? I'm just curious.
Occasionally we just have, you know, people chip in with some blog posts and stuff, but mostly it's just about crowdsourcing information. I think a lot of us are producers of festivals and teachers and performers, and there's sort of the realization of like we're solving these problems individually. If people can kick in what we've learned in one place, then then the next generation of improvisers won't have to learn all of those same things again. And if we can figure out how to make submissions easier, because I know what the hassles of submitting are and of receiving submissions, and kind of bridge those languages there. So.
And
Do
we
you
ask
guys
people
still ask for money?
well,
No.
we do.
Yeah.
Well, we ask like representative, like Rick Andrews was helping us spread the word. Like we have meetings with people when we go to festivals, and we always ask people just to spread the word about us. That's the big thing.
That's cool.
We're a nonprofit, so like the money that we do make, and the only way we do make money is through our instant submission service. And what we do, you can list your festival on the site for free, but if you want to use the instant submission service, which is a separate service, we take $5 per submission.
That's fair.
And then that pays for everything. Bill and I don't take a paycheck or anything. Nobody gets paid for the National Improv Network.
Yeah, no one gets paid on E-MPROV either.
Yeah, it's just a labor of love. Bill and I have known each other for about 15 years now, so we've been we've been thinking about this for a long time.
Wow, that's so cool.
So
Yeah.
fantastic.
And,
Harry,
And to
Oh,
bring
go
it back together, it's E-Improv's, we saw this as the same goal, and we thought what a great way to combine these two things and get people to know about both of us better, and we really enjoy what E-Improv has been doing.
yeah, we're trying. I mean, we're trying to reach out to people. I think Harry has so many like fun ideas too. Like he's always creating interesting new ways to like just approach the art form on this medium, because this is not ideal. It's like choppy. We were late. We couldn't figure out this, that, and the other thing. Like it takes some work. I mean, the first minute you guys were like, talking, I was rapidly emailing the next team to see if they could stall for a little bit, and then sending the embedded code to Harry so it could make sure it's on our site. It's just there's a lot of that kind of like back and forth, but like for you guys, the next kind of like artistic move or like kind of like mission statement move for you is this whole like you're the teacher thing, which is really, really cool.
And I think they're kind of related in that in both respects, it's throughout most of the 90s and the early 2000s, I think there was a lack of real growth in improv artistically, business-wise, and every other way, because people just said, well, this is what it is. And now we're like, no, let's push the art form. Let's push both like what we're doing artistically. Let's push the medium, and let's also push the perception. Let's get out there. And yeah, the legwork is on us, but that means the people doing improv in 10 years are going to have a public that knows what it is.
We'll do the legwork, but then eventually, I mean, we're hoping more people will get on board just to keep working it and give, people give us ideas, and eventually, when Bill and I are done, take over, and we'll pass the torch on.
Oh no, you guys are dying.
That's the goal.
Yep. But I mean,
we're all dying slowly.
Oh no.
Improv is a cool technological thing, but it's going to inspire somebody to think of something that we had not thought of. And they're going to be doing electronic and digital and internet shows that we can't even conceive of, And I'm the guy. I've got Google Glass right here. I'm the guy who's got the newest everything just to like break it and see what can happen next. And I think, let's do improv until somebody figures out the next thing after that, and grow and grow and grow. And you're going to be putting improv out in all sorts of cool ways other than just doing a Herald. Love Harold. That's not the only thing we do.
I'm thinking hologram improv.
Oh, for sure. If I could never leave my house and do improv all day, forget it. This is practically there. That's kind of like where Harry goes, like, because Harry is a young 20-something, and like I reach out to him because I come from an experimental theater background. Like I reach out to him for weird ideas. I'm like, put something weird up, you know. So he's done interesting things with like trying to have 3 cameras on him, 3 laptops, and like, you know, I've tried stuff with having like Skype and Hangout on at the same time, and like, can I screen share that at the same time and do kind of like dual stuff? So we're playing with it, but who knows?
I sometimes have my students wear my glass and then record it so then we can watch what the student was seeing while they were on stage.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. And we're working with Arizona State's Center for Creativity, and they're always talking about future stuff. And we're like, yes, let's talk. Let's do more stuff. So it's awesome what's happening in the next few years.
That should just be an entire like web series, where an improviser like through an improviser's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it to different people. It'd be very what's that peep show? It'd be very peep show from UK.
I think I might actually do that now.
Do it, steal it,
and give credit to you guys.
People steal my ideas all the time.
But that's it. I mean, like I said, the teacher tool. We got a lot of cool things coming for teachers, and this is going to be part of it. We're going to, have more teachers giving lectures for teachers, because there's so many workshops out there on art, but there's not a lot of lectures or in teaching. There's not a lot of workshops on coaching or management or teaching or directing, or understand the difference between teaching and directing and coaching. And I think if we have tools like this, we're going to get more words out to people who aren't in New York and Chicago, so that people in Boise are going to have amazing instructors in the year, and then the performers are going to be amazing in Boise in the year, and then everywhere is going to be good improv. So invest in the teachers now,
Right?
Yeah, it's cool, like seeing on Improv. I think. Oh, is that the Ernie voice on the page?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I got a couple questions on our site asking how they can watch this, and I told everybody to go to the E-MPROV site. Was that wrong to do?
It's going up right now. See, as we're doing this show, I'm putting it on the site.
Yeah.
Okay, so just tell them to hang on?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I was going to say.
They're like, one of them's like, what's that terrifying noise?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Harry, I keep needing to talk to you about that. But
Yeah, that is a terrifying noise, by the way.
Thank you.
For those of you watching us, we know, we heard it too.
No way.
I think I shit my pants. I thought I was in Poltergeist.
See, this goes to show you why Harry thinks outside the box. My one task that I asked him to do that relates to this was, can you make a sound, like, so when people go to the site and maybe, like, and he suggested when they wave over the name, you just hear how it's said, like how it's pronounced, like a normal person, because people are always like, how does it sound? Is it improv or is it E-MPROV? So that was his task. He keeps making these weird robot sound things.
It reminds me of the old Snake Mountain toy from a kid.
Yes, it does. That's hilarious.
Harry, note taken by 2 other people as well. Your regular voice, Harry. Improv.
Oh, it sounds like improv, though, when I say it.
Also, we should just take it off because people are freaking out. I'm freaking out, randomly having it just open during the day, and it starts going, I'm a dragon. And I'm like...
There's a bunch of like French and cowboy ones on my iTunes that I didn't put in yet. No.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm excited. I'm excited for having more talks that have more focus. We're going to be able to find some ways to have some more interactivity, bring other questions in there, and answer questions. This one's been a very us talking at the internet, but you're going to have some more interactive stuff, and I love this tool. It's going to get more and more refined. It's going to get more and more awesome. And teachers are going to be teaching, so improv's going to be great.
Yeah. And Terry wishes he could be here. He's psyched about it, guys.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's great. And so, should we move on to the subject part of it, Bill?
Sure, we can do that. And I know we can speak quick. I know there's another show waiting to go. Yeah. Other questions?
How do we get? I have questions that I can.
Yeah, just read them.
And if anybody wants to ask questions, how can they do that, Bill?
I posted on the the National Improv Network's Facebook page. They can do that, or they can email Bill at National Improv Network or Nick at National Improv Network if they're not on Facebook.
Harry also installed a chat box for you guys too. So on eimprov.com, there's a little box down there people can chat in.
Great, I'll open that.
Well, if you guys want to stick around with us, because I know you guys are improvisers and coaches and stuff, we're going to be talking about. I know you said you might have another show to get to, but we're going to be talking a little bit about coaching and teaching, because we've been getting a lot of questions about that lately. So.
That's great. Yeah, I'm a real experienced coach, so I'm down.
Cool.
Harry, have you ever coached improv?
No, I kind of like retaught 101 to some kids at my first college.
Nice.
Well, then maybe you have some questions.
What are some of the questions?
Well, yeah, let's Bill, let's move on to that, and we'll do like about, let's say like 10, 15 minutes of it if anybody has questions, and if not, we'll go off.
Cool. Did you say there's a couple on already, or?
With everybody?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm gonna I'll be back in about 30 seconds, so you guys just start without me.
Okay, thanks, Amy.
Yes.
So again, if you want to ask questions, they have a chat box on E-MPROV.com. It's E-MPROV.com. So as we said, this is the year of the teacher for Nin and the coach, and we've been writing some blogs about it, and you can check out our blogs at nationalimprovnetwork.com. But a lot of the blogs we haven't been able to get to yet, but I saw some of these topics, and I thought I'd throw it out there. So, Bill, this is the first one. This is really interesting. How do you get your name out there when you're in a local market? When you have a small improv market.
Yeah, and it's hard because I think a lot of festivals want to bring in the big names, and if you're coming from another town, then there's not as much. I think start with the theaters and stuff like that, because the festivals usually they want to book big names if they can. Offer to go out and do something off season with them, and they're generally very open to having different views in there at times throughout the year when the students can afford it to, when they can afford $20, whatever it is for someone, when they're not blowing all their money at the festival. And I think the other one is just like anything else. If you do some local ones, ask people to spread the word. A lot of people are ashamed to do that. Just don't peddle them for a Yelp review, but just tell them, hey, I'm willing to do this at other places, and stuff like that. It's a good start.
And a second part to that question is, say they've been doing local coaching, how can they get to a larger market? Like, they've been coaching, they've been trained, they've been coaching in their small town or their local city, and they want to go to a bigger festival or something and teach.
Well, first of all, go to the festival if you're teaching or not, and meet people. If you're really unknown, you're not gonna get it right away. Meet those people and let them see who you are as a performer. See what you represent first.
Yeah, Bill, I agree with that. When we've talked about this, it's like I get a lot of submissions for being for my camp, and I'm sure you do for Phoenix about workshops, and a lot of the time they've never been to the camp or never been to your festival, I'm sure, and I always think that's an odd thing. It's like, go meet the people, go to the festival, go to the camp, see what it's about, see if it's, and then you understand what it is, and then you can pitch your workshop. They know you. It's like in the industry, really. If you think about it.
I never mind if they ask and if they show me something, and once in a while something interesting, but at the same time, it's less likely to get picked up. Along those lines, like you said, going, getting, performing, and getting known. Take workshops, and observe the teachers and stuff like that. That's not going to immediately get you in those things, but it's definitely going to help.
Well, even for like master teachers, for Camp Improv Utopia, like, you know, we hire teachers based off people I know and have seen perform and teach, like, um, even for master teachers, because I got to see if it's the right fit for what we're doing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that come into play when you're hiring, and if I've seen your show or you've met me or I have that. I know that it fits, then that's an easier sell for me when I'm getting pitched a workshop.
That said, I'm going to kind of flip it on its ear there. I think the other side of that is knowing that is out there, and this is directly to whoever asked the question, Phoenix, and this is part of the Year of the Teacher that we're connected to, the Phoenix Improv Festival, we are experimenting with having a lot of smaller workshops for a smaller number of students for a smaller amount of money. And it's a chance to say, this is the chance for those local performers who don't get into big festivals. This is a chance. I think more festivals should start offering a few of those workshops reserve a few of them for people who aren't big names, so that you're going to get little chances like that here and there, and your name will grow.
When you say small workshop, what does that mean? Like small size or small length, or?
A little of both. We're just experimenting because we don't know which of those variables is going to be successful in the long run. But we are having a few festive workshops that are only 2 hours instead of 3 or longer hours. They're for a smaller class size because we know realistically you're not going to fill those up there. And also a newer teacher might not be used to a bigger class size, and for a smaller amount of money. And that way we also know that performers who have so much money to spend at a festival might take 2 or 3 small plates, as it were.
And just to add to that, Bill, I agree. Like, Bill and I have talked about, master teachers get hired very easily. You have your Susan Messings, your Jimmy Cranes, a bunch of those guys, and they're all fantastic and wonderful, and you should hire them because they will change your life in improv. But what Nin wants to also do is give the teachers, younger teachers a chance to come up in the ranks too. And part of what Camp Improv Utopia might be doing in our East Coast camp is we have our master teachers, and Amy is actually one of our teachers at Improv Utopia East this year. But we might be doing side workshops that are for maybe younger teachers that have something unique to teach that no one else can. For instance, say someone's done a lot of clowning work or something like that. And they might be, we might have these offshoot workshops that are only maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours long that people might want to do, and also give them a little bit of training wheels on how to teach a little bit as well. So I think it's a great idea, because in the improv world, and there's not really a system in place yet besides shadowing that I've seen on how to teach someone to coach. So, in our industry, as long as it's been around, it's still really young. So, like, it would be nice to, give opportunities like that at places like the Phoenix Improv Festival and a camp, to give people a chance to teach and to learn how to do that, and maybe give them feedback as well, and things like that.
And then
maybe a coaching workshop.
You're back there.
I was just gonna say I used to teach a lot of like one-offs for like coaching improv. Like people will just approach me and ask me if they could come to a rehearsal. So I've had people just kind of come and watch me coach a team, and they'll take notes, and then we'll like ride the subway up, and they'll ask me questions on why I did certain things. I think it's like it's a trainable thing, but I also come from like a directing background. Like that's what my degree is directing for theater, so I kind of approach it that way, like teaching someone how to direct a play, and also actors and the production. So you have to just take into account a lot of different balls,
Yeah, right. I would like to actually see that at more festivals, because we're getting such a new generation of people coming through that it would be nice to see workshops focused on coaching and teaching. Again, shadowing has been the biggest thing. Where like when I did it a long time ago, I shadowed Craig Kukowski for like half of one of his classes at IO West, and then I got to teach the class for 6 weeks after that, and then he gave me notes. So it was kind of a interesting way to do it, and I liked it, and I learned a lot from it. But you know, it'd be interesting to have things outside of that in festivals and kind of
And more
pick
festivals
people.
are having panels and conferences in addition to workshops where they can talk about teaching and coaching and stuff like that with each other and exchange thoughts. And I think that's good. If you're in the same place, why not do it? Why not talk and learn?
I need to do more of that. I just recently, I'm not a big fan of traveling, so I just recently started pitching workshops at different festivals. And now I'm like, oh, I want to go do this one and that one, purely based off of location. But also just, you know, whatever. But I'm starting to realize I need to diversify because I'm pitching my same workshops to festivals who have already had me, and they're just like, we like you, but it's going to be the same people.
Yeah.
I love the George Carlin thing too. Is that there's some workshops that I still have that people ask for, and I'll pull out once in a while. But every year I try and go, what am I'm not just going to invent something like I can teach this now, but I'm like, where am I now? What is something I'm passionate and have some thoughts on that's new that I can bring there? And some years I don't have anything, so I don't offer as many workshops, or I just have like the old back catalog available if people want.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. Like I always kind of refresh my workshops every year, kind of take a look where I am in improv and sketch and things like that, and you know, what I've learned, you know, because I always try to keep learning, you know, and evolving with it. So, and you know, traveling, you kind of see where the different patches are, and you can see what they need to learn and where they are as you travel throughout. But yeah, I think it's a nice thing to refresh so you don't run into that problem of like, you know, we've done that before, because like a lot of people would do this one workshop that I did all the time, and then they were like, well, we've already done that. But then I had a platter of like, you know, 5 different workshops, and the one great thing about them is, you know, it's hard to teach a form of like, I'm going to teach you a herald in a 3-hour workshop. So it became more of like a focus of like, I'm going to teach you theme. Everything you know, like how to start identifying theme in a show, or I focused on different aspects of improv, and that seemed to work really well.
And I was blessed. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
No, I was just gonna say, I guess that's my problem. Is I started teaching a blanket class called Improv, and throughout, whenever I'm feeling something new, I throw it into my curriculum. Like I have a kind of a very basic curriculum, but then I'll have people who have taken my class a year ago, and they'll retake it, and they'll be like, oh, we never did this. And I'm like, oh, you didn't? You've never done this? So I started getting really disciplined about like writing down on the back of my rosters like what things I did that class. So if certain people would be like, I want to make up class 4, and I would have to like go back to their class and look at what their class 4 was to see if I had any that would like line up. So I mean, this is great for me because I'm learning that because I have something that I've kind of like shaped as I go throughout the years, I need to have more of a strict kind of like, what are the best of moments for my Improv class, and maybe then start teaching the other kind of things I'm feeling at the moment, you know, as different things.
I think that's especially, Manic. I think that's especially true when you teach, like, especially with other teachers, like a level 1, level 2, level 3, for the non-traveling performers, so that folks who stay in the theater, because if you have 2 level 1s with different students, you can have very different exercises and very different teaching styles and everything, but if they don't have the same basic teaching standards and skill set in level 2, it's not going to be a good level 2. You know, you want to make sure every level 1 gets the same skills, every level 2 gets the same skills, regardless of how it's taught and what exercises you use.
I will tell you one of the most difficult things I've found traveling around and teaching improv is you go to this town or this town, and the range of improvisers that are in your class are from beginning to, have been doing it for a long time. So it's not like you're all in level 6 together, so you have a common growth. So like, I'll teach a theme workshop, and because that's what they wanted, and sometimes it's like theme is a very hard, more advanced thing, and I'll list advanced, like this is more for advanced students, but then still they'll want it, and it's like I try to tell them, and then sometimes it's just like they really want that thing, and then it's like some of it's like they're like I don't get this, like, and then some of them are like, yeah, totally see that. So that's been a challenge for me going to some of these places, and have you experienced any of that?
Well, I kind of pride myself on the idea that like you could never take an improv class and come take my improv class, and you'll find a common language with your ensemble, with the class that's there, within 3 classes. And then, so I've had people from never taken an improv class to people who are teachers at UCB to like all in the same room, because I think collectively I try to get them to see that this is basically like a jam experience. You get up there with a bunch of people you don't know. You're all like learning the same kind of voice. Can you train yourself to be an ensemble? Like a welcoming, joyful, totally picking up everybody's things and lifting everybody up. Like that's my main goal in my craft classes, and I think that's what I'm trying to get across to people is like you can do work with anyone. And not only that, you also can make your own brand stronger. Like you'll get to know you as a person and how you contribute. Some days will be harder. You'll be working harder to make a scene great because somebody is not up to that skill level. But I think that's like working out. It's like going to the gym, you know? So I pride my classes on being like a kind of like an improv gym, but you're all working towards the same goal, and you only want everyone to be better to serve the show. And it's not a rageful thing at all. It's like, no, yes, everybody needs to get on the same page so we can accomplish this amazing show.
My workshops are all rage-filled.
I love it.
Here, I got a question for you guys, and coming from all different parts of, we got New York, Phoenix, and Los Angeles represented. Someone asked, how much should I charge as a coach?
Where are they from?
That's a whole conversation right there.
I know. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Where are they from?
Well, it doesn't say, but I would assume that it's probably from a smaller improv community, and that's kind of what I kind of say to people when they ask me, is it depends on where you are, because I mean, if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, it's going to be charged much differently than if you're in Los Angeles, like, Amy, what would you say for a 2-hour coaching session would the average New York price be for coaching?
Average New York price is usually $50 for 2 hours. That's people who've only been doing it for like, 1 to 4 years. And then it starts going up from there. Some people will jump straight to $60. I've seen some people get on a Herald team and all of a sudden they're on Facebook being like, I will coach your team for $70 for 2 hours. But then there's the other side of that spectrum where there's people on Herald teams that are like, I'm real honest about this, haven't coached a lot of teams. I'll coach your team for free for the first time. If you like me, then you give me $20 an hour,
I think that's great.
Yeah. Transparency is great.
Few and far between, to be honest.
LA is the average for like a newer coach for like 1 to 4 years, probably 40 to 50. And then for over that, it's probably 60 to 80. And then some coaches are now, which is crazy, are charging $100 for 2 hours.
Yeah. I think that's
it's been a new trend. It's been a new trend happening in LA, which really is kind of crazy.
I'm like,
no,
like you have to be.
Not.
You have to be crazy. Like I remember when I did a show and Armando Diaz was directing it, and we were like talking about pricing and stuff, and he was just like, oh, it's $75 for the 2 hours of us like talking about your sketches. And this was probably like 6 years ago, but I was still like, wow, that's what the big boys make. Like, oh boy, that's a lot of money for 2 girls to pay. Yeah, but he deserved it. You know, I would have
Yeah.
paid whatever he asked me to pay.
Right.
So Bill, like for a town like Phoenix, what's your kind of average?
$300 an hour. No, it generally goes about $45 for 3 hours, 45.50 for 3 hours, so a little lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just recently went up. I was $60. I was $50 for a really long time, and then I think since about 2006, I've been. No, that's not right. About 2008, I was 60 for 2 hours, and just in January, I went up to 70 for 2 hours, and I still feel really guilty about it.
It's worth it.
Well,
it's worth
your
it.
time is worth it, and like my thing is, it depends. If I have a team that's with me every week and I'm coaching them, I'll do a lower rate. If it's a one-off, it might be a higher rate.
Sure. Same here.
Yeah, if you're funny, I'll charge you less, pretty much.
It's less work if you're really funny.
I've been thinking about this. So, like, smaller teams pay the same price as, like, a team with, like, 10 people on it, right?
Oh, not here. Not here. No. It's definitely more per diem here. That's not the right word. But I think, like, smaller groups generally pay less here than larger groups because it's just more, stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it honestly depends. Like, if it's a two-person team, I won't charge them my standard rate.
Mm-hmm.
But I also won't do as much time, so I kind of find a balance to make it work.
Same. I offer my apartment for duos or trios because my room is big enough. It's the same size as a small studio. You'd be paid $20 an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I'll do $40 for an hour and a half, which I think is plenty for a duo if you're coming straight in, on time, quick warm up, and then you're good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Great.
That's about what I'll do for a duo.
Yeah, I guess you're getting those reps because there's less of you. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're doing an hour and a half, you don't have 8 people that are working. You have 2, so they're getting that full hour and a half, just them. So it just depends.
Thanks, guys.
I think we only have time for one more question because our other team is
I was like, when the thing came up, like, there's people waiting.
Okay, let me look for any more. Let's see if you're looking. That's a weird question.
I want to know what it is later.
Yeah.
I hope it's just a dick pic with a question.
It's a dick pic with a tattooed question on it. You know what? They're pretty much the same questions, really. Oh, here's one. Is it healthy to change coaches as a team grows?
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely. Whenever I coach a team, I always say, if I agree to coach them, I'm like, let's coach for 3 months or 4 months or a set amount of time, because they're gonna hopefully they're gonna grow because that's why I'm coaching them, and with that month, then we have a set time to go. So where are you guys at right now? What are you looking to do now? Am I the right person to give you that, or do you need someone else to do that? And if you set the time aside, there's no awkward we're kind of outgrew this or we're not getting or something like that. So I think setting that set time works really well for me.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, Bill. Like, that's pretty much I only do a little while. And on the opposite side of that, a team hiring a coach, should have a kind of a period of let's see if this works, and then at the end of that period they go we really like this coach, let's extend them for another 4 months or whatever, depending on how you're entering the team.
Yeah, I used to depend on coaching money at certain points in my life, so it was so much more critical to have these teams long term. So of course now it's not like that anymore, but I do the same thing of I'll set aside these 2 months. I'll give you guys every Wednesday, but I have to say in those early days, some of the worst emails I've ever gotten in my life are those breakup emails of we're going to another coach, because I think they personalize it, right? Some teams. I can't piss them off, you know, and those are the emails that I still keep, and I'm like, I remember those forever. Like, some have been great, and then others have been like, you didn't need to send me this. Like, just tell me you're going with another coach.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, those sting. Yeah, those are. I mean, and everybody's gotten one of those, I'd assume.
Oh, I'm lucky. I've never got a stingy one.
What's the
I
ideal
don't think
breakup
I've gotten
email?
like just for me, this is what I think is ideal for a team. You approach a coach. You say, hey, we're a team. We're trying a bunch of different coaches. Are you available on these dates? We'd love to have you. With like zero commitment, super honest up top. That's the best way to do it, because then it doesn't matter, you don't even expect an email back ever being like, you're fired, you know?
Okay.
But then again, on the other side of that, if you're doing a coach, you're coaching for a year, and then all of a sudden at the 4-month mark or at the 12-month mark, they're like, you really haven't been working us on this, and they never communicated anything for a year.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
So the best thing to do as a team and coach is just communicate with each other. I always tell troops to have an improv Bible, which is like everything they like in improv, what they want to do. So when they get that blueprint to a coach can guide them into that direction, so they're all on the same page and know what they want.
For me,
to accomplish together.
No matter how
to make it easier.
I'm sorry. No matter how late or how long our practice is going, without exception, at the end of every practice, every member of the cast gets a moment uninterrupted where they can say how they were feeling about practice, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, what they're feeling. And I found that leads to a lot healthier troop growth.
Ooh, you have them pass the Kong shell around?
They actually they actually pass it, and they go and they pass it, and it's exactly the conch, and it's usually just like, this is great, but when people have something, they bring it up, and it doesn't feel like a negative because they've been asked to give their voice to it, and it just seems like a very healthy outlet for groups to grow that way.
Well, we should probably wrap up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been the First Nins Talking Shop with Nick and Bill, and Amy and Harry have been joining us here. We're excited to join forces with E-MPROV. We'll be sending out a blog about it next week. Officially announcing it.
Group who has delayed themselves for us.
Sheep Meadow, we love you. That's Morgan Phillips. If you guys haven't done a scene with Morgan Phillips yet, you have to. He's been doing 1,000. He's trying to do 1,000 scenes, right? Or is it 10,000? No, 1,000 scenes.
I hope he increases the number, though.
No, that would be crazy.
Keep going, Morgan.
1,000 scenes on E-MPROV. It's nuts.
Always.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll send him your info.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll totally.
He's also amazing, and his partner tonight is Mimi Fisher, who is also amazing. She's on the Chris Gethard show. They're gonna have a great show. We love you guys. Thanks for letting us do this.
That's
you guys
great.
Intro out because this is not me.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll be back next month with another subject and talking shop.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.